NCIS officially sets up its biggest team shakeup in years. For most of its run, NCIS has preferred stability, with characters coming and going, but the major case response team structure has rarely changed. There was always a clear hierarchy, familiar faces in the bullpen, and Leon Vance overseeing everything. Season 24 may be about to break that pattern. Wilmer Valderrama recently teased major changes and major additions coming to the long-running procedural. On the surface, that sounds like business as usual because NCIS has weathered cast departures before. But with Vance gone and several unanswered questions lingering from the Season 23 finale, the upcoming season appears poised to do something bigger than simply replacing missing pieces. For the first time in years, the series may have multiple roles to fill at once, and that could fundamentally alter how MCRT operates. Over the years, NCIS has become accustomed to saying goodbye to agents, but directors are another matter entirely. Rocky Carroll's Vance spent nearly 2 decades serving as the bridge between fieldwork and the politics surrounding the agency. While characters like Gibbs, Mark Harmon, Parker, Gary Cole, McGee, Sean Murray, and Torres Valderrama handled cases, Vance occupied a position few other characters could. He was one of the show's constants. Replacing a field agent is relatively straightforward, whereas replacing a character who has anchored the series since Season 5 is considerably more complicated. Whoever eventually steps into that position will inherit one of the most important jobs in the franchise, and that assumes NCIS even wants another Vance. There is no doubt from Season 23 that Gabriel LaRoche, Seamus Dever, has his own interests, and there is no evidence that he is the steady hand the MCRT needs for overall direction in the future, given his political manipulations. In fact, it seems there could be a power struggle for control in Season 24 before the dust settles. Valderrama's comments about major changes and major additions stand out because NCIS typically favors one-for-one substitutions. When Gibbs left, Parker took over. When Abby, Polly Perrette departed, Casey, Diona Reasonover stepped into the lab. Even Jessica Knight's Katrina Law arrival maintained the familiar rhythm the series had relied on for years. Vance's death leaves one vacancy. The fallout from the Torres and Mateo, Patrick Kelleher cliffhanger could create another. Meanwhile, Valderrama's suggestion that multiple additions are on the way raises the possibility that CBS isn't simply looking to expand the ensemble, which isn't something NCIS has done often. For much of the Parker era, MCRT has operated with a leader, 3 field agents, Jimmy Palmer, Brian Dietzen, and Casey, which has worked well and is precisely why any attempt to alter it would represent one of the biggest changes the show has made in years. Murray recently reflected on the show's history of adapting to different casts and praised Cole's arrival as an opportunity that gave the series real stuff to work with. His comments serve as a reminder that change has often helped NCIS rather than hurt it. At this stage, the identities of those presumed additions remain a mystery. The more interesting question, however, is what kind of characters the series actually needs. A new director seems inevitable. Beyond that, however, NCIS could benefit from another field agent, which would give the team more flexibility than its traditional structure allows. It could also introduce someone from outside the agency, creating friction with Parker and forcing the team to adapt to a different leadership style. Executive producer Stephen D. Binder has been careful not to rely too heavily on Gibbs, treating the character almost as a larger-than-life figure, rather than someone who can simply return and restore the old days. Meanwhile, Murray's memories of Harmon's gradual exit and Parker's arrival highlight just how much the series has already evolved. Whatever route the series takes, the decision will reveal a lot about where NCIS sees itself after more than 500 episodes. For years, the show has focused on preserving what worked, and Season 24 may finally ask a different question. For more than 2 decades, NCIS has thrived on one simple formula: a tight-knit team of investigators tackling impossible cases while navigating the personal bonds that make them more like family than coworkers. But as Season 24 approaches, the long-running procedural appears ready to embrace one of the most dramatic changes in its modern history. recent developments have officially set the stage for the biggest team shakeup fans have seen in years, and the implications could permanently alter the future of the Navy Yard. The signs have been building for months. After years of stability under Special Agent Alden Parker's leadership, the cracks have begun to show. Not because the team is falling apart, but because its members are growing, changing, and facing opportunities that could pull them in entirely different directions. At the center of the storm is Parker himself. Throughout recent cases, Parker has found himself carrying more responsibility than ever before. While he remains a respected leader, the emotional weight of command has become increasingly visible. The seasoned agent has repeatedly placed the team's well-being above his own, but that sacrifice may finally be catching up with him. Sources within the fictional NCIS universe suggest that Parker may soon face a career-defining choice, one that could force him to step away from field operations and into a larger administrative role. If that happens, the team would need a new leader, and that's where things become truly interesting. Special Agent Timothy McGee has spent years proving that he's far more than the team's technology expert. Since joining NCIS as a young probationary agent, McGee has evolved into one of the agency's most experienced investigators. Many fans have long believed that he is the natural successor to any leadership vacancy. Yet McGee's potential promotion comes with complications. Accepting a leadership position would fundamentally change his relationships with his colleagues. He would no longer be the trusted partner offering advice from the sidelines. Instead, he would be responsible for making difficult decisions that could put his friends in danger. That transition would create entirely new dynamics within the team. Meanwhile, Jessica Knight's future remains uncertain. Knight has emerged as one of NCIS's most valuable agents, demonstrating courage, intelligence, and emotional resilience under pressure. However, recent developments have hinted that she may be considering opportunities beyond the current team structure. A transfer, a promotion, or even a specialized assignment could take her away from Washington entirely. Should Knight leave, the vacancy would require NCIS to bring in fresh talent. New agents inevitably change the chemistry of any team. Fans still remember how previous additions initially struggled to fit in before eventually becoming beloved members of the family. A new recruit would face similar challenges while attempting to earn the trust of veteran investigators. Then there's Nicholas Torres. For years, Torres has operated as the unpredictable wildcard of the group. His instincts often lead him into dangerous situations, but they also make him one of NCIS's most effective agents. Recently, however, Torres has shown signs of wanting more. Whether that means leadership aspirations, undercover assignments, or personal changes remains unclear. What is clear is that his journey appears headed toward a major turning point. A more mature Torres could become an entirely different character than the impulsive agent viewers first met years ago. Such growth would naturally alter his place within the team hierarchy. The potential changes don't stop there. Casey Hines continues to play an indispensable role in solving cases, and her contributions have become increasingly vital. As forensic technology evolves, so does her importance to investigations. There is growing speculation that Casey may receive expanded responsibilities, placing her at the center of larger storylines than ever before. That evolution would further redefine how the team functions. Instead of relying on traditional structures, NCIS could embrace a more collaborative approach, in which every member contributes equally to major decisions. Such a shift would feel fresh while remaining true to the show's roots. What makes this shakeup particularly significant is its timing. Television series rarely survive for more than 20 seasons, let alone continue attracting loyal audiences. To remain successful, long-running shows must periodically reinvent themselves without losing the qualities that made viewers fall in love with them in the first place. NCIS has accomplished that balancing act before. The departures of legendary characters once seemed impossible to overcome. Yet the series adapted, introducing new faces while honoring its history. Each transition brought uncertainty. Each transition also created new opportunities. Season 24 appears poised to continue that tradition. Rather than relying solely on nostalgia, the show seems ready to invest in its future. New leadership possibilities, changing relationships, and evolving character arcs suggests that the writers are preparing a substantial reorganization of the team. For viewers, that means higher stakes. Every conversation could contain clues about who stays, who leaves, and who rises to greater responsibility. Every case could push characters closer to life-changing decisions. The uncertainty itself becomes part of the excitement. Longtime fans understand that NCIS has always been about more than solving crimes. The emotional journeys of its characters are what keep audiences returning year after year. Watching agents grow, struggle, succeed, and sometimes move on has become a defining feature of the franchise. Now, those journeys appear ready to converge in spectacular fashion. Whether Parker remains in charge, McGee steps into leadership, Knight pursues new opportunities, or Torres embarks on a different path, one thing seems increasingly certain. The team audiences know today may not look the same by the end of the season. And that's exactly what makes this upcoming chapter so compelling. Change can be uncomfortable, especially for a show built on familiarity. But change can also be exciting. For NCIS, the biggest team shakeup in years may be exactly what the series needs to launch its next era. As season 24 approaches, fans should prepare themselves for surprises, emotional farewells, unexpected promotions, and perhaps even the emergence of a completely new team dynamic. The future of NCIS is changing, and for the first time in years, absolutely anything feels possible.